how familiar are you with the yogurt shop murders and what research have you done?
I have moderate information. I was on the Austin Public Safety Commission um, back in, I think, 2009 when this sort of came up as an issue. We were concerned about the general large problem of wrongful convictions, and excuse me, we were concerned with the general overall problem of wrongful convictions and wanted to get reports from the Austin Police Department on what they were doing in terms of their treatment of eyewitnesses, interviewing, and forensic techniques. One of the things that came up at the time was the fact that DNA was recovered from one of the victims that did not match any of the four men that had been arrested. Two of them who had been found guilty and imprisoned, and we're currently in the process of some appeal. And there were statements that were made at the time by the district attorney, Rosemary Lemberg, saying that she was confident that they were the ones that had done the murders, but they were halting the prosecutions until they found other evidence. They were actually trying to determine whether that DNA belonged to a police officer or someone in the forensics lab. And this led to some significant pushback from one of the original detectives who called me a liar because I said there was weak evidence in the case. And so that resulted in us doing a little more digging and presentation on the matter. So some familiarity. I spoke to some of the um, defense attorneys at the time, or appeal attorneys. And I've also spoken to current Austin detectives who've been working on the case. So I have some knowledge, not detailed though.
Well, I mean, since you've been asking around, you've been doing some research. Do you have any insights that you can tell us about uh, to who this person may have been, or any additional information related?
I only know what's been in the news that he had committed murders and been found guilty in other states in the Southeast, particularly South Carolina. I have some colleagues who SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and I believe he was caught there through DNA. He moved around quite a bit, which is a sort of interesting question. What was he doing? Where? Why would he have been in Austin? What was he doing here? What other crimes might he have done in Austin at that time? Did he have any associates? What was his work at the time? Was he a trucker or was this part of his regular route or did he have some specific intent to commit a crime? There's so many questions. I think it's great that the Austin police kept at it and solved it. And I know they're still continuing to investigate everything, but given they have both DNA and ballistics, I'm pretty confident they've got the right answer this time.
In terms of, I know this is under investigation, but because he's dead and not alive to interrogate or to talk to or anything like that, are these questions that they're still looking into? All the ones you just talked about in terms of who he was, why he moved around so much, all those things. Is that still information
You'd
that
have to
they're going to
ask the
find
Austin
out?
Police Department about that.
Okay.
I just said
Well,
these.
I just meant more like in your experience. Is that kind of protocol, even though somebody may have been died?
I would say those are important questions to get an answer to. There's always costs and trade-offs and all the rest of it, but I suspect just reading the statements from APD that they're still exploring what they can about this person's background and activities.
Are there things that can be researched or looked at into as far as how this person was able to go unknown for so long, and what if anything can be done excuse me, what if anything can be done better in the future or with other current cold cases, anything like that?
So that's a really important question. I don't know enough to answer that. It certainly should be something that police agencies, and not just Austin, but all over the country, should be exploring. Was there anything that VICAP, the FBI linkage system, could have helped with? Was there anything else that might have gotten to identification here sooner rather than later? It's really difficult with stranger crimes to solve them if the person's not already on the radar screen of the police. And it's even more difficult if someone's moving around from state to state. If you remember Samuel Little, who the FBI called the most prolific serial killer, in the United States. He got away with multiple crimes over three-quarters of the nation over many years, and it's because he just kept moving around. So I think we need answers to these questions, but whether the answers exist, I don't know. That will really depend on the specifics.
As of right now, the Ford defended into originality. Um, Excuse me, let me back up. As of right now, the four defended into originally accused and convicted of this offense, they have not been exonerated. Can you talk at all about to that and to how this process should work out?
So I believe four were arrested. Grand jury wouldn't return indictment on one of them, so three went to trial. I believe two were found guilty. And those were the individuals where an appeal had occurred at the time DNA was found that did not match any of them. So, to my knowledge, they have not been officially exonerated. And that is something that definitely should be given a priority by the district attorney's office. These people are innocent, and there's no doubt. And even up to very recently, there were some individuals who still felt they were guilty on the basis of next to no evidence other than problematic confessions. And when the DNA came along and didn't match any of them, that should have resulted in a reset. And I think that many people adjusted their beliefs accordingly, but some held on, and that is something that's unfortunate. And these four teenagers, that's what they were, deserve, to be apologized to, officially exonerated, and whatever else may come through the legal system of that. And some people don't want to accept that, but it's pretty hard now to convince anyone that there's any alternative.
Well, now that they have that DNA and they were able to trace it back to who it was, does it still take time to, as you said, the releasing them and the apology, all that should happen pretty immediately. But does that still take time, or is there a reason why it should take time, or should it happen? In your opinion, I guess should it happen pretty immediately if they know they've got the evidence, they've got the DNA? Why continue hanging on to these other folks?
So I don't know exactly what they have and how confident and all the details. Genetic genealogy takes a lot of work. You actually have to be, an ancestry.com detective as well as a police detective or forensic scientist. So there may be some reason for this to take some time. I'm sure there's legal hurdles to go through. I would just say it needs to be done as fast as possible, expedited, and I think that's very important because they've gone through hell the last few years. And of course, the families themselves are just re-victimized when the wrong people are arrested. So, that's another factor at play here. But I really think that there was some serious dedication and good work by the Austin Police Department, and the people that solved this case deserve a lot of credit. But let's learn what we can from it, both what not to do in the future and how to improve investigation techniques in the future. And I think Texas has something like 20,000 unsolved murders. It's a huge cold case problem. And this is something that needs to be explored, further research. The Attorney General's office has a cold case and missing persons unit. I suspect they're probably under-resourced. And a case like this has implications that are community-wide.
Is there anything that you want to add that we may not have touched on that you want to explore a little bit further for us?
So Robert Eugene Brasher's committed suicide, and Brasher's is dead, and he won't come to court. And I think in one way this is a chapter closed, but we have to remember that there are other Brashers out there that have not been caught and have not been identified. And so whatever we can, learn from this, and by we I mean the entire country. Not This is nothing unique to Austin. These challenges of unsolved crimes exist all over the country and other countries, and we need to try to do what we can because communities expect safety from their government, and they also want to believe they're safe, and we also want justice.
Do you have any thoughts as to what could or should change to help make that a better process?
Well, the federal government does not seem to have been interested in research on catching people in the past. Maybe this will change with this new administration, whatever the state can do at their level. But there are people that are dangerous, and there's nothing you can do. The research is clear. You cannot rehabilitate them, and you have to catch them and incapacitate them. That's the only way you can actually protect people from predators like brashers. So, to the degree that we can prevent crime and we can rehabilitate them, great. But assuming that is the answer to everything, it's like you go to the doctor and they say, we're only giving out vitamins now. That's the only thing available to us. We don't do operations anymore. Well, I mean, that's ridiculous. And I sometimes think that's been an attitude, a political attitude from people that are at higher levels of government. So, let's get non-political and let's think about community safety. Let's be about proportionality and justice. We want people to be safe. We want the process to be just.